Have you ever thought, I can't lose weight no matter what I do? Well, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you might not be losing and things you can do to get that weight loss going. Hey, this is Colin the Way. If you want to end the yo-yo dieting cycle and if you want to create results that will finally last, start now by subscribing today and clicking that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Alright, the number one reason why you can't lose weight is probably you're not tracking your intake. This is a very common one. We try all different types of diets. We try keto, we try paleo, we try vegan, we try whatever we can think of and everything we can find, but we don't actually track our intake, so we don't really know how much we're eating. See, the thing is, with all these different diets, no matter what diet you do, they're all just different ways to put you in a calorie deficit, which means you burn more calories than you consume. This is how you lose weight. There's literally no way around this. So it's just different ways of causing this calorie deficit. So the thing is, if you don't know how much you're eating, it makes it really hard to know what to do to make adjustments to get the weight loss going again. So not only is it difficult to know, but if you do see results for a while, eventually that's going to stop because the body is very adaptive, right? So whenever you diet, your metabolism is going to make some adjustments and it's going to start slowing down, and the reason for this to happen is to keep you from starving to death, right? You can't just like eat negative calories. So your body goes through these adaptations to prevent you from basically starving yourself to death. So what happens is your body changes and now your metabolism has adapted to your new maintenance calories. So if you're eating a certain amount, no longer works anymore, now you need to make some adjustments to get it going again. But if you're not tracking your intake, you have no idea what to do. You don't know what kind of adjustments to make and you can't get things going again. So tracking your intake is of great value because now you know. Now point number 2, let's just say you are tracking your intake, but you're just not seeing any weight loss. Well, one of the things that I have noticed not only through coaching clients, but also there's research to support this, is that people just aren't that good at accurately accounting for how much they're eating. So we need to make sure that what you say you're eating is actually what you're eating. There was actually a study that was done that I'll put in the description below where they took obese people who reported eating 1,200 calories or less per day and could not lose weight. Well, what they found was these people were way underreporting. So on average, these people ate 1,053 calories more than what they said they did. So basically almost double what they said they were eating is what they were actually eating. And on top of that, but they were over-reporting their expenditure. So they were burning about 250 calories less per day through expenditure. So if you add the two together, now we've got a net difference of 1,300 calories per day that is unaccounted for, that's above and beyond what they thought. So you can see how by the end of the week, that would really add up to a lot of calories and explain why, hey, you're barely eating in your own mind, but you're not losing weight. So we want to make sure that we're being accurate. So all the bites and nibbles and tastes and licks and stuff that we just kind of like try to get away with, all that stuff can add up really fast. And if you're just eyeballing foods instead of measuring it, that adds up extremely fast too. And we're talking about hundreds of calories every single day that go unaccounted for. Or even just measuring by grams instead of volume can make a huge difference. And add on top of that, the effort days that we don't account for too. So the days where we say, screw it, I don't really care, I'm just gonna pig out. And you have a day or two of almost every single weekend, if not every weekend, where you just way overdo it, but we don't really put that into our log. We kind of pretend like those don't happen, right? So we have to be really diligent and say, okay, like, is this really accurate or not? So just make sure that you're being really open and honest and accurate with your intake to make sure you really are eating what you say you are. Reason number 3 is you are not eating enough protein. This is a huge one and it's the biggest struggle for most people. I'm always trying to get people to eat more protein, eat more protein, eat more protein. And the reason why protein is so helpful, there's several reasons actually. The first being it by far has the thermic effect of food. So if you don't know what the thermic effect of food is, it's basically how many calories your body burns just processing the food. So when you hear like all calories are not created equal, this is what people mean. Now, I'm gonna do a future video on this topic, so I'm not gonna go into big detail, but basically the calories going into your mouth, it's the same no matter what. It's what happens once it like goes through the body where that changes, the output changes. So the protein thermic effect of food is about 30%. So about 30% of the calories you eat from protein just get burned up by the body, right? Whereas it's only about 5 to 8% for carbs and it's only 2 to 3% for fat. So if you ate the same amount of calories, but you upped your protein and lowered carbs and fats, you're going to net less total calories. So there's a big benefit in the thermic effect of food with protein. It's also what builds and maintains muscle mass. And the more muscle you have, the more calories your body burns naturally, the better your metabolism will be. So the long-term effect of building muscle is going to be beneficial for your metabolism and help you burn more calories. And on top of that, it's by far the most satiating of the macronutrients. It's going to help you feel full. So especially when calories get lower and you're really hungry, by eating more protein, you're not going to feel quite so hungry, and it's going to help you stick to the lower calories because of how satiating it really is. So if you're not eating much protein, that's the first step you should take, is start trying to get that number up. So I recommend between about 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of how much you actually weigh, your total scale weight. If you have a lot of weight to lose, so say you're really obese, then you can take your lean body mass equation and do that number instead, because you're probably not going to eat like 350 grams of protein per day. You could, and it would be helpful, but that's probably not very realistic. So I usually try to have people aim for about 1 gram per pound, and that's a good place to be. If you have a hard time eating that much, if you've barely eaten any protein now, don't try to make that huge jump at once, all right? Try to bring it up slowly. So maybe add like 10, 15 grams of protein every week until you get where you want to be. Now, as we get to number 4, let's just say that everything is dialed in right now, right? So you're tracking your intake, you're tracking it accurately, you're eating plenty of protein, and you just can't seem to lose weight. What do you do now? Well, it just means that you're not in the calorie deficit. In order to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit. So in order to do this, that means you're going to have to eat less and or move more. So there's different ways to do this. The fastest and easiest way is to just reduce your calories. So it doesn't take a whole lot of effort. It's just you have to be accepting that you have to eat less food. So if you knock back your calories, that's the quickest way to do it. However, you can also increase your expenditure through exercise as well. And I actually find that walking is a really good way to do this. It's a very underrated way to increase your expenditure. Just going for half-hour to hour walks every day, while it is a time commitment, it's going to burn extra calories. It doesn't take a lot of energy. You don't have to put forth a lot of effort that you have to recover from. And when you're walking, you're actually burning fat for fuel. So it's a really valuable tool. Now, all the other different types of exercises are good too. I just find that this one is underutilized quite a bit, but it does require extra expenditure and or reducing your calories, probably some sort of combination of the two. By the way, if you were confused with what a calorie deficit is and how to create one, don't worry, I'm doing that video next. So it will literally be up on Wednesday. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you do so you don't miss that video. Okay, so you're tracking your intake, your protein's high, you're already eating low calories, you're already doing a lot of exercise, you can't lose weight. What do? Well, there is still something you can do, but it's going to require a lot of patience and a lot of work. And you need to do something called a reverse diet. If you've never heard of reverse dieting, it's basically where you slowly increase your calories, slowly reduce your cardio, and get your metabolism into a better place where you can more effectively lose weight down the road. So one thing you have to understand is what I mentioned previously in the video is that your body is very adaptive. And especially if you have a really long history of dieting and a very aggressive, extreme history of dieting, your metabolism is really suppressed from this. It's just the body's natural self-defense mechanism against dieting or against starvation, really. So if you're in a position where your metabolism is just running really slow and it becomes really difficult to lose weight, the only way you're going to be able to lose the weight is to get your metabolism into a better spot. So one of the things you have to understand is if you eat less calories, your metabolism slows down to adjust for this. You increase your metabolism by eating more calories over time. However, you cannot just do it super fast. You can't just go from eating like 1,000 calories per day to eating 2,000 calories per day because you'll just gain a bunch of weight. You need to let the body kind of catch up as you do it. So you need to just slowly do it. Maybe you add around 50 calories per week and you just do that every single week and allow the body to kind of adapt. Will you gain a little bit of weight during the process? Potentially. But we can minimize it by taking the small increases and taking our time. The smaller the increases you make each week, the less likely you are to gain additional weight during the process. I find around 40 to 60 calories per week is a pretty good pace for most people, and you don't necessarily have to do it every week, right? So you can do it one week and then keep calories the same for another week and then go up and then keep calories the same and then just kind of take your time so your body can make this adjustment, but you need to do this for a while. Now I understand that this is kind of a frustrating thing or something that brings kind of extreme caution, especially when you're trying to lose weight, but if you're in a position where metabolically you just can't lose anymore, this is literally your only hope. So you need to be really patient and just see this through and understand that any short-term weight gain that happens and anything that's going to happen during that that process is going to be well worth it long term, because in the long term, this is how you're going to win. If this is confusing for you, I get it, I understand, don't worry. I actually have a video going over what happens when you do yo-yo diet, what happens when your metabolism suppresses, and how you can get it into a better spot. So I will put that in a card here and at the end of the video so you can go check that out. Okay, I want to hear from you. I want to know, what do you struggle with the most? Why do you think you have a hard time losing weight? Do you think it's your metabolism is really suppressed from dieting? Do you think that you just have a really hard time with adhering to the plan? What is it you struggle with? I want to hear, put it in the comments below. If you have any questions, please let me know. Like the video if you liked it, and I will talk to you next time.